All right, YouTube. Repo Man 64. I'm using the other camera, which is why stuff is backwards now. Um, but I have to make this presentation with a clearer camera. So, a little astronomy lesson to help everyone understand why 364, 365 and a quarter, and 366 and a quarter are exactly the same amount of time. When we do the math on 7 years times 364 days, we land on the Feast of Trumpets. When we start with the Revelation 12 sign. No, the Revelation 12 sign did not happen on the 23rd. It happened on the 24th. The reason they're calling it on the 23rd is because that's when they spotted the first sliver. They were trying to make it line up with trumpets. The Jews have been doing this with the moon all along. It is inaccurate. It's not accurate to use the moon. So the Revelation, you can all go into your programs and look. The Revelation 12 sign, in fact, happened on the night of the 24th, and we know at nightfall it becomes the 25th in Israel. That is a big bug. Remind me to pay attention to that thing that it doesn't go over here. Okay, thing's huge. So the Revelation 12 sign happened the night of September. He's walking this way. The night of September the 24th. And when you do the math again from 364 times 7 years brings you to the Feast of Trumpets. 365 and a quarter times 7 years brings you to the Day of Atonement, which is what we use as our calendar. There's a reason for it. I'm going to show you why. And then if we do as though the earth were uh, tidal locked, the earth technically would spin one time. Like our moon is tidal locked. We see the same side of the moon every day, but it goes around our planet once every 29 and a half days. It's tidal locked. How many times did it spin every 29 and a half days? It spun one time. There is no such thing as a dark side of the moon. As it goes around, the other side of the moon is getting sunlight. The side that faces us, that we always see, depends on its vantage point as to whether or not it has light, how much of it we see. Now, for all you flat earthers, I'm not making a video disproving what you're saying. As a matter of fact, if you will place your YouTube channel in the comment section, and I will go to your YouTube channel and listen to your explanation of how this happens outside of the fact that the earth is round. The sun, of course, we can see with a filter, you can actually see it spinning. The sun is round. Everything is round out there except for the earth. The earth is flat. If you can explain that, and I'm not being sarcastic, if you could give me a good explanation, I would definitely promote your channel. I promote people that I don't agree with at all. And why do I do it? Because the underlying message is that Jesus saves. Jesus is the only way to heaven. And that is the only salvational issue. The rest of this is simply icing on the cake. It's knowledge that we need. I don't know where that big bug went. It was huge. He's going to crawl up my leg while I'm doing this. I know it. And then you're going to hear me scream like a girl. I scream like a man, definitely. Oh, I don't know where it's at. Okay, so I'm going to show you really quick why 364, 365 and a quarter, and 366 and a quarter are the same amount of time. Right here, we have the sun. Right here, we have the earth. And over here, we have a star. Now, let me see what we can do to explain this. This is quick stuff here. All right. This will always be the side of the planet that tells high noon, for example. Yeah, we lose time in the morning to time in the afternoon, but high noon is always high noon. And it points at the sun. It goes on through, terrible at drawing lines, goes on through, and points at a star. Okay? Do I write it? Yeah, I write it the correct way. Sun, Earth, star. The Enoch calendar is not solar based. They're saying it's solar based. It is not. It is, how do you call stellar based? It's star based because as the Earth goes around the sun right here, that same point right here will point at this star, just like this. It will point at the star, okay? However, every single day that the Earth moves its way around the sun, its circuit around the sun, we have to allot for 4 minutes per day for it to face back to the sun. So this is 4 minutes later. 4 minutes it takes. Now it's still pointing at the star. This is 364. This is 365 and a quarter. And if you count the Earth always facing the sun, you would add 1 day to that. All right. Now the Earth goes another step, and it is pointing at the star again. Okay. You have to account for these 4 minutes, and the other 4 minutes it requires to face high noon back at the sun. Okay. So that's 8 minutes. You do this every single day, 4 minutes a day, and you multiply it by 364, and you will find your day and a quarter. This must be done because if it is not, it won't take very long, 6 months, for noon to become midnight. We have no choice but to point it back at the sun. We know that this is an accurate calendar. Now, when it goes all the way around, we know this is accurate calendar because Enoch was 365 and a quarter days when he was taken. He was born on Sivan 6. He was taken on, I have to look at the thing, I think it was it Elul 6? I think he was taken on Elul 6, which is exactly 365 and 3 months later from when he was born. He was born in Sivan 6. You'll notice in the patriarchs, most of them, or a lot of them, will die on the same day they were born, completing a cycle which God started their life on a day and ended their life on a day. The same way I think my highest watched day is September the 11th. So we continue. You move the Earth around here, it points at this star, and to fix it, you got to go another 4 minutes, so that's 12 minutes. You keep going all the way around, multiplying the 364 times 4 minutes per day, and you'll wind up with your day and a quarter. So this, when the Earth comes back to the same exact point, if you had gauged your day based on that star, it would have been 364 days. If you tick the Earth back, because as it goes around, it's got to face the sun for high noon, 4 minutes per day will add up to that day and a quarter. And if you tidal lock the Earth and say, well, it always has to face the sun, that's that extra day. So 366 and a quarter is correct. The Earth will be in the same exact spot where it started from if you add that day to the 365 and a quarter day calendar, where you turn the Earth 4 more minutes to face the sun. So high noon is high noon. And if you get technical and point straight at that star, straight at the star up here, it's 364. 364. All 3 of these will always return the Earth back to its original starting point, depending on perspective. Okay, I want to get out of the way, get that out of the way. Now, I'm going to erase this when I'm done because I played something else getting that last information off there. I had no idea that dry erase erasers become permanent after a period of time. All right, let's see here. There we go. Whoa. All right, we're back. Let's go to this so we don't have any thing. All right, so I hope that helped. Again, I'm only explaining What I understand as far as time goes, as the Earth goes around the sun, this is the explanation for anybody who thinks the Earth is round, which I do. But if you think the Earth is flat, please, by all means, put your YouTube channel down in the comment section, and I will go in and watch your explanation. And if it makes total sense, I will come on here and promote your channel. I will say, hey, this guy's got a really good argument as to why he thinks the Earth is flat. You have to be able to explain to me how a sun that is tens of thousands of degrees is hanging from a string, floating around, and that gravity is real, and we're all inside this dome, including the sun, but the sun doesn't fall, and how the sun has been able to burn, since it's got to be much smaller than what you say it is, how it's been able to burn for the last 6,000 years and not burn out. So just do that, and I will promote the channel. All right, let's get to the pictures now. That I hope you all understand that. If you don't, put some questions in there. Why things are the way they are. It took me actually a while to figure out all of this myself, and to recognize that when you do math on each one of those dates, God is, in my opinion, God is verifying that in fact there are 364, 365 and a quarter, and 366 and a quarter, because I believe the Revelation 12 side, there has been eclipses, blood moons, and everything else, and they're important. They are time markers for sure. But the Revelation 12 sign is once in a 6,000 year event, and it's huge, and it happened on the Day of Atonement. And when you do the math from the day, I don't know where that big bug is. Hope he's not crawling up my pants. I won't scream like a girl, I promise. All right, let me go into the pictures. Alrighty, let's start. Where do we start? Let's start. Okay, now, the day of equal parts. Let me explain why they are choosing September 21st, and I forget what other date it is as the solstice. The reason they're doing that. Here, let me take this picture up. I'll show you. Right, hold on. I will show you right here. Where's the figure 8 at? Right here. All right. Now, the day of equal parts happens on September the 25th, technically 26th. Whoops. All right. When the sun reaches the height, as high as it's going to go, as warm as it's going to get on the northern hemisphere, June 21st is the day they chose because it's right in the center. And you can see that on time and date. You can see that that is the center date. However, it reaches the 23.5 degree mark on June 15th. June 15th. The reason they chose March 21st and September 21st is because June 21st is the summer solstice and December 21st is the winter solstice. So they said, well, the 21st, we're going to have to choose the 21st to keep each month 90 days, 91 days. The problem is it entered 23.5 on December 15th, and so therefore the day of equal parts happens over here on March 16th. Okay? The two witnesses are the four-star algenib skirts along the horizon in Israel on March 16th. It does it as well on September the 15th. That four-star skirts along the horizon. One day before, it'll be under the horizon. One day after, it'll be above the horizon. Israel is our timepiece. So September 15th of that is accurate. It enters into the 23.5 degree mark on June 15th. It leaves on June 30th, putting 15 days inclusive in the center there. That's why they've chosen that day. They're saying that's got to be it, but I'll show you how they're just guessing at that 1,000 years ago. Okay, let me go here. Enoch said, And this is where a lot of people who invoke the name of Enoch do not understand what they're saying. On that day, the day is equalized with the night and becomes of equal length, and the night amounts to 9 parts, and the day 9 parts. In other words, there are exactly 12 hours a day and 12 hours at night. This does not happen on the equinox. We are not children of the night. Equinox literally means day of equal night or night of equal night. Equal lux means day of equal day. We are children of the day, not of the night. So if you're trying to invoke Enoch, you have to read Enoch to understand what he said. This is the day of equal parts right here. That's in Enoch 72:20. And then Jesus makes this comment. Are there not 12 hours in the day? And in fact, there are 12 hours in the day on March 16th. Now, as you know, I just made this timeline. Let me show you where we're at. I'm getting more and more excited every day. We're right here on September the 2nd, which is Elul 19. We're coming up on Elul 20, September the 3rd. And as of tomorrow, let's see, as of September the 4th, we will be exactly 1 week from the first day of creation. The first day of creation began on Elul 28, September the 11th. It runs through the fifth day of creation right here. Noah removes the covering, Tishri 1, which is the Feast of Trumpets. The next event after the Feast of Trumpets is the Day of Atonement, Yom Kippur. The night of September the 24th, becoming the 25th, is Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. And then, of course, Jesus is born on Tabernacle, September 30th, Tishri 15. He's named 1 week later. Jesus is named and circumcised on the 8th day, 8 days later, Tishri 22, October the 7th. And we all know what happened on October the 7th. The Revelation 12 sign happened here the night of the 24th, not the 23rd, the 24th. And that was the Day of Atonement, Yom Kippur. And I think that was the biggest sign, honestly, that we are to use. Now, again, they tried to back it up to the 23rd, but if you go look at Stellarium, I used two programs in the last video to show you that it's, the moon is beside her feet. That's not what the passage says. The passage says the moon is under her feet. And that doesn't happen until September the 24th, which is September the 25th, Yom Kippur. It starts at nightfall on September the 24th. All right, let me get on with this. All right, I showed you this before. September the 24th, the Revelation 12 sign. If you add the 1,260, like a lot of people do, plus the 1,260, you will arrive at August the 18th. And I've said that they're using a prophetic 360 days. This, what I just showed you behind me, is a year, 364. When God says 360 days, there are 4 days that are not counted for. They're called kasses. They are a day that switches from the watches. It's a switch over from the first watch to the second watch to the third watch to the fourth watch. It is a switch between seasons, spring, summer, fall, and winter. On that day, it switches. You have 90 days and then that day. You have 90 days and then that day. So when the Bible says 360, and like I said in the last video, I've seen so many people do math and they're like, I don't understand. I'm just like 14 days off. Why isn't this 360 working? It does. It's 364. You're just missing the hidden day, the cassette. Put that back in there. And like I said, Revelation 12 sign plus 2520 comes to August 18th. Not much happened in there. But if you add those 4 days per year times 7 years, 28 days to 2520, you add 28 days. When you go from the Revelation 12 sign to 2017, and you use the Enoch 364-day calendar, that, remember, the earth pointing back at that star, not to the sun. When it points to the sun, the Enoch calendar is not solar lunar. It is stellar. I don't know how you call that. Stellar. You use a star. It points at the star. Okay? But again, the same effect happens when you need to keep high noon, high noon. So 364 times 7 comes up to 2548. And guess what? From the Revelation 12 sign, 2,548 days, which is 2,520. If you put in the cassettes, the 28 days, it lands on the Feast of Trumpets on September the 15th perfectly. If you count 365 and a quarter, remember you readjust the earth back or forward 4 more minutes. You wait 4 minutes each day, 4 minutes every single day, so that it's high noon, lands on high noon every single day. Those 4 days must be accounted for somewhere. So they add a day and a quarter. They don't have a choice. They don't have a choice. They have to, I mean, otherwise noon would be midnight. That's simply not going to work. So they wait those 4 minutes every day, add those 4 minutes times 364 days. And if you take 364 right now and multiply it by 4 minutes a day, you will find your day and a quarter. So if you use 365 and a quarter, and if you go exactly 1 year, which we know that's 1 year, September 24th, 7 years is exactly September 24th, Day of Atonement to Day of Atonement. If you use the earth and recognize the fact that the earth, and I really don't see this in the Bible, except that something incredible happens when I do it. When I do each one of these, 364 lands on trumpets, 365 lands on atonement, and if I do the tidal lock, excuse me, if I do the earth as tidal lock, 366.25 times 7, it goes from uh, tabernacles, which is the Revelation 12 sign, to the day Jesus was born on September the 30th. It's confirmation. Now, we are the overcomers. Wayne, I don't know if any of you are not subscribed to him. Please go subscribe to him. He did an entire video explaining the difference between apostasy and apostasia, and I loved it. He went into a deep dive on the two words, and totally cleared that up in my mind, and now I have how do you call armor to be able to argue this point or explain this point. We read in Second Thessalonians, like I've said so many times, Second Thessalonians uh, 2:3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and the man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. So many say, nope, that's definitely falling away. We're looking at the churches waiting for this big falling away. And I say this verse is not speaking to the bride. This we're spoken to in First Thessalonians. This is not speaking to us. They are in fact going to see this falling away, but it's not falling away. It's a departure. Apostasia, the word used here in the original language is apostasia. The way they translated it is incorrect. The word used is apostasia. Apostasia is departure. It's a rapture verse. Apostasy is falling away. They translated it falling away. In most other Bibles, they translated it correctly, apostasia meaning departure. So when I go look it up, and the reason they translated it wrong is because they've been wrong for a very long time. Apostasia should be departure, but here we see in Strong's G647 that it's a defection from the truth. It's a falling away, but again, this guy right here did a huge, deep study on it. He went way further than the original translators of the Bible and discovered that apostasia, in fact, means departure. So I went and looked it up. And let's see, what is this? Oh, I looked up apostasy. You'll notice that it's a completely different word, H7725, apostasy, backsliding, turning away, and over here it's a feminine of the same as G647, G646, a defection of the truth. This is not accurate. Apostasia means departure. So, and again, does it really matter? This is not for us. This is for the tribulation saint. They will see this departure. They will see the man of sin be revealed, son of perdition. That's what they're going to see. We simply aren't not going to see that event take place. All right. Let's see. September 27th. I shall see him, but not now. I shall behold him, but not near. There shall come a star. Oh, this is about the star. They're talking about the star of Jacob, which is pretty cool. It lands on September 27th, which is 2 days after the anniversary of the well, 3 days after the Revelation 12 sign. Star shall rise out of Israel, shall smite the corners of Moab, and destroy the children of Sheth. Okay. So I just thought I'd point that out, that the date of that Jacob star that's going by or something, they've done a lot of work on this. I haven't. I just went to look up the date and put it on here and show you the verse in the Bible, Numbers 24:17, where it's discussing this star. These are very important. They're hidden in the Bible for us to find, which help us along towards figuring out when the rapture might occur. And again, like I said, so many times, not one of us is going to figure it out. Amos 3:7 will be um, fulfilled by God Himself. We're going to see it. Will it be a great earthquake? Will it be Damascus? We don't know. But we're all keen and in tune right now, watching and waiting for that sign to come. Revelation 3:3 says, if you aren't watching, that day will catch you off guard. So we are, I don't see that happening to us. As soon as one of those huge events happen, um, we will be keenly aware that the day is coming near. Will we know the exact day and hour? I don't think so. I think we're going to know pretty darn close, though. I think we'll start really. I mean, we're very serious about watching now, right? We're all very serious about watching, but I think there's going to come a moment in time where we're like, oh, this is going to happen in the next 7 days or 3 days or 40 days. Well, I don't think 40 days. Honestly, I think this September the 11th is pretty close. I guess we'll see as we go forward, closer to September the 11th. Like in 2 days from now, will be 7 days from September the 11th. And if there were a huge sign 2 days from now, that might reveal that, when it was going to happen. So we're pretty close to it. Yeah, I took this picture. That was crazy. And that thing stayed up there forever. Sorry, I still have this cough a little bit, especially when I start talking. Be able to just stand here and be quiet. Okay, that was the thing I was trying to point out. This all started honestly with my YouTube channel and everything I discovered. Most of this started almost, let's see, Revelation 12, about 6 years ago after my surgery. Put me in bed for quite a while. It was pretty horrendous what I had to go through. Birth defect that I had to be repaired. So, um, but I started, and this was my prayer. Like I said before, I wish I would have prayed to know the last day, because God has answered this prayer over and over and over again and proven it over and over again. And that's why I believe that the timeline is accurate, because I believe the Holy Spirit has shown me all this stuff. And so lots of other people have found this, but I've never found anyone aside from myself and aside from Nick Vanderlyn that have made it timeline. Nick Vanderlyn's timeline, in my humble opinion, without disrespecting him or talking bad about him, I am subscribed to his YouTube channel. He is 4 days off. The thing that gets me about Nick is he's very persistent or insistent on recognizing the Sabbaths. So I left him a comment. I said, your Sabbaths are wrong because you're viewing the head of the year as the equinox. And the reason you're doing that is because the shortest day is this date and the longest day is this date, and you're simply falling in the middle of those 91 days. That's not accurate. The accurate is when it comes into the 23.5 degree mark and when it comes in the 23.5 degree mark. And that marks March 16th, and it also marks September the 14th. So March 16th. Now, we have a witness to this. There's many witnesses to this, but we have a lunar witness to this. I know I don't follow the moon, but every 19 years, the lunar cycle will witness to the fact that the calendar is accurate. Every 19 years, the moon will show, and showing that March 16th is the final Sabbath and March 17th is the head of the year, every 19th moon cycle. That star, Algenib, will skirt along the horizon at 5:47 p.m. on September the 14th. Now, that is 12 days away for Israel. This happens in Israel, and it skirts along the horizon. I would imagine there's a point somewhere in Israel where they would have to stand to see this exact event. And that was what the witnesses were looking at. They were not looking for a sliver moon. This is what they were looking for. This marked the final Sabbath of the year. All right. I said this last video and then I forgot to take the pictures and I paraphrased, but I wanted to get into it. The Luke 21 is speaking to the bride, and that's why I did the little skit that I did. Um, Luke is only going to see a portion of this over the next. We're going to come to a point, and then there's 7 years that go on after the rapture. So there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars. Revelation 12 sign. It's all right there. And God utilized all three of them. He used the sun. He spoke of the sun. She would be clothed in the sun. He used the moon, and the moon will be beside her feet. No, wait a second. It says under her feet. And in the stars, there were 12 stars above her head. And upon the earth, distress of nations with perplexity. We are seeing this right now. They are currently trying to force Netanyahu, because of the left wing over there pushing on him to make a deal for these hostages. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to get into the politics of all that, but I know that we're supposed to back Israel and support Israel. The Bible tells us that to speak ill of Israel is to speak ill of God, basically. So I support Israel, back them up, and what's going on over there, I'm not even remotely close to fully understanding everything. If he makes a deal to me, if you make a deal with terrorists right now, you could get back some of those hostages, which would be awesome. That would be ideal, right? But if you leave Gaza, you get your hostage back, you leave Gaza, in another few years, they will simply take another 1,000 hostages. I don't understand why we don't support what Netanyahu's trying to do in stopping them from ever being able to do this again. Absolutely stopping them. They're requesting that murderers, people who have been caught killing Jews, be let out of jail and returned back to Gaza, and that Israel leaves Gaza, and they're just going to start all over again until he gets Sinwar. They're going to start all over again. All they got to do is look for somebody wearing a burqa. I mean, that's what Sinwar is wearing right now, right? Men's hearts fail. It says the sea and waves roaring. We haven't seen the sea and waves roaring. Have you been looking at the earthquakes on our tectonic plate? It's happening everywhere except for California. All around the plate, it's hitting, except for California. One just hit in Oregon. All around that tectonic plate, it's hitting in South America. It's hitting over by Australia. It's hitting everywhere, but it's not hitting California yet. But I just saw another picture of a huge chasm that has opened in the earth in California. That tectonic plate is slipping. It is under North America. Is it under? I believe it's under North America. And when it slips out, when it comes out finally, that's why it's crushing everything on the other side, because it's pushing up against it. There's a lot of earthquakes on the other side by Australia. And when it pushes out and that rises up, it's going to displace just so much water, and it's going to be something else. And when you see that tidal wave coming, men's hearts failing in their fear. For me, that would be a huge sign that the rapture is about to occur. I looked it up. It literally would take 24 hours for a wave that size to transverse around the planet. It says that one of those waves can travel around 500 miles an hour. So uh, I don't recall how big our planet is. I think it's 24,000 miles. So that would actually be 48 hours. That would be 2 days. So that would be very interesting. But that's what the bride's going to see. when when these things begin to come to pass, then look up, lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth near. Now, Mark, this is the tribulation saint. This is what they're not only going to see everything I just described, they're going to see all that. They're also going to see this. We aren't going to see this. The bride will not see this. But in those days, after that tribulation, remember the tribulation's two parts. You have the you have the first 3.5 years and the second 3.5 years. Although I'm not thoroughly convinced that the saints will be here for the full 3.5 years, because God's Jacob's, the seventh. It's the 70th week, right? God's turning his attention back to Israel. Those 7 years technically belong to Israel, but how long it will be afterwards, I don't know. But in those days after that tribulation, remember, first 2.5 years, the sun shall be darkened. They're going to see the sun darkened, the moon shall not give her light. That either means that there will be something huge that happens that blocks out the sun and the moon, and the stars of heaven shall fall. Now we're getting into stars of heaven falling. The powers that are in heaven shall be shaken. And then shall they see the Son of Man coming in the clouds with power and great glory. He's going to come and get another group. He's going to, the first time, angels don't gather us. A lot of people read this verse say the angels get, no, we're just poof, we're out of here. Poof, that instant, that fast. It's going to happen that quick. But the tribulation saints, the angels will come and gather them. This verse is speaking to the tribulation saint. And he will gather his elect from the four winds, from the utmost part of earth, the uttermost parts of heaven. Remember, to be dead in Christ, you're in heaven. They will be gathered in heaven. They will get their new bodies. They will wash their robes white. The Jew, their warning is different now. The saints are not going to see this. They will not follow the false Christ. They will not, these people now, the tribulation saint, will not receive the mark. There are going to be many that do, but these people won't. They're going to recognize what's going on. The return of the Son of Man. Wherefore, if they shall say unto you, behold, he is in the desert, go not forth. This is speaking to the Jew. They are going to accept, and God's warning them in advance, but they're going to accept the Antichrist as their Messiah by mistake. And for 3.5 years, until he walks in and claims himself to be God, that's when they need to flee. That's the end of Israel. That's Israel's 80th year. March 13th, technically. May 13th, 2028. They were given 80 years. It started on March 14th, 1948. It ends on March 13th, 2028. And like I said, you back up 3.5 years and you land on 11/11 of 2024, which is very quickly approaching, which means we need to be out of here now. Wackadoodle Samoan, as you know, is back. This is his YouTube channel. He's already up to 510 subscribers. Everybody loves him because of the things he finds, and I love his math, and I really like his channel because he does stuff like this. And he says he go watch this video, 2024 eclipse, and he says that in this year right here, in 762 BC, on June 15th is when there was an eclipse. Now, remember, we're using the Gregorian calendar to count back, and the Gregorian calendar is off by 26 seconds a year. So, is it a day? No, it might be. No, it's a year, I believe. Anyway, might be a day. I don't recall, but I know that over the course of 3,000 years, it's off by one day. So 615 might actually be 614. But on that day, what happened? Jonah, they threw him overboard because the ocean was just going nuts. A big fish swallows him, keeps him for 3 days. Big fish spits him out on shore. The people who were in the boat that threw him overboard, I mean, you just don't kill somebody and just, go have lunch. You go into town, you wouldn't believe what happened. We were on a boat. Jonah, that guy, was on there with us, and every time we lowered him into the water, the seas got calm. But when we pulled him back in, because the seas got calm, the seas went nuts, and we had to put him back in. We did it like 3 times, and then finally Jonah said, just let me go. Let me go. We let him go. The seas got calm, and a big fish came up and ate him. They already went into town talking about this. And what do they see 3 days later but a ghost? Jonah. These people stated that he was dead, got eaten by a big fish, is walking through town saying, this dead guy is saying that in 40 days, God will destroy Nineveh, right? So and then all of a sudden out of nowhere comes this eclipse. Oh, they dropped down to their knees. They put on sackcloth. They knew that this dead guy is telling them this stuff, and they knew that they believed it. Why? Because this event took place. Because these people came into town 3 days earlier. Says, we feel so bad. We had no choice. What are we supposed to do? Don't arrest us. And here he comes walking through town. Now, so 6:15. You saw that, right? June 15th. What happened? It's a Sabbath. When did Jonah show up? He had to show up here. On Tammuz 1, June 16th, the tops of the mountains were seen. What's Jonah doing after he warns Nineveh? He goes up and sits on a hill. God provides a tree to cover him, and then the tree goes away, and he's sitting up there waiting for Nineveh to get destroyed. He can't stand them. He's a little ticked off right now because he had to get swallowed by a fish and everything to force him to go warn them. And he's sitting up there, and the tops of the mountains are seen by Noah. It's the same date. God reuses these dates to make his point. I found it very interesting that he chose, or that eclipse happened, and that, of course, Wackadoodle Samoan found it. That was pretty cool. All right. Craig Bong posted this again. They have done a lot of research, and a lot of people who claim flat Earth. And again, I don't want to get into any negative connotations over that fact. I think it's round. Others think it's flat. That's fine. I don't know how you explain volcanoes, but that's fine. It's flat. But when you invoke the Bible, use Bible verses to verify your point of view, um, and then you go into the original language and study it. You see in the original language, Craig Bond did this. I think I found this on Facebook, and I should have hit the see more button and highlighted it. But you can go on to Facebook, look up Craig Bong, and he did a very good study on this. And all these verses that people thought it said flat actually says sphere. And so Brother Dana, he has a YouTube channel, and he does a lot of wonderful math. I love it. And we don't see the same dates, and that's fine. He's working on his own stuff, and that's fine. That's fantastic. So go subscribe to him, and then you'll find this. I believe Brother Dana also put. I think this was Facebook. He posts in Facebook as well. You can read all of that. Now, the equinox is the equinox is kind of a thing because the sun does cross over the equator. But did the Jews know that from where they were? Like, did they have somebody at the equator with a stick? No, the Jews are at the 30-degree mark above the equator. So they weren't at the equator with a stick. So they wouldn't have actually known from Israel. Remember, Israel's a timepiece. We have to do everything from there 1,000 years ago. This book, the Bible, comes from Israel, comes from the Jews. The Jews wrote the New Testament. They were Bible believing, God fearing Jews that believed on Jesus, and they wrote the New Testament. We owe everything to the Jews, honestly. So, what they did was because of the shortest day and the longest day, they simply did math back to what they call the equinox. And the equinox changes every year by 6 hours. It's not reliable. There's only one point that's absolutely reliable, only moves by seconds every year. And I explained to you why it's the 15th and why, even though it's not the shortest day or the longest day, it reaches the 23.5-degree mark on the 15th. And halfway through that travel, those 15 days, halfway through is what they would call the spring equinox and the winter solstice and the summer solstice. So hopefully that's people say I talk about this too fast. It's because I already know it and I understand it, and I should take more time to explain it. I think I took a little bit more time this time to explain it. I hope. Nick Vanderlyn, I am subscribed to his channel. He is very works based. He made a video just going after Dr. Barry because they dressed up for Halloween. And I told him in a comment, how do you know that Dr. Barry is not celebrating the day that God wiped out evil from the face of the earth which he did that on October the 31st. Of course, Nick Vanderlin's off by 4 days because he's using the equinox. We're not children of the night, we're children of the day, proving it so simply. And that would mean that for him, Jesus was conceived on December the 29th. Why not December the 25th? Because that day is taken over by Satan. Of course it was. It's the day Jesus was conceived. So I think that's it. Hopefully Nick Vanderlyn will see the comment and perhaps come over here and look at the explanation. He attempts to explain um, the 364 day and then dismiss the 365 and a quarter like it doesn't exist. But I mean, I showed you why it happens, why it has to happen, why Enoch was 365 and a quarter years, or he was 365 years and 3 months from when he was born on Savan 6 to when he left on Elul 6. So I explain all that and I show why the earth must, otherwise noon will be midnight in no time. You'll get no sleep. They have to face it back to the sun. So Enoch explains this, but many seem to miss on the day equalized. They seem to think that's something to do with the equator, but you know, there's just no way to figure that out. There is a way to put a stick in the ground and notice what day is the day where it's equal, and that is March 16th. So anyway, it's hot out here. I don't know where that big bug went either. I hope he's not crawling up my pants somewhere. This thing was huge. Oh, there he is. I should do a close up on it. You all jump right out off the screen. You'll be like, exit, exit, exit. Yeah, it's coming my way. All right, let me get out of here before I get eaten by that thing. Repo Man 64, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Go to a quiet place by yourself. Nobody needs to know, and you don't need to tell anybody. Accept the Lord into your heart. That thing's so big. It's like I don't even want to describe it. It's huge. And accept the Lord into your heart. We've run out of time. We've run out of time. So, um, what was I saying? Yeah, the only reason I really call Nick out, I don't really do that, and I promote his channel because he does have a lot of great information. He's done a lot of work. He's just doing it 4 days too late. That's all. But the reason I did was because he's very works based. He needs to let go of that works stuff, and he's very concerned about Halloween and Christmas and all that stuff. And it's very works based. And I know there are those who, and good, more power to you. You know, I heard a preacher preach one time. He said, we're a bunch of preachers and we get together on Sunday after church and we go golfing. And one of the preachers said, no, I don't do anything on Sunday. And the other preachers are like, why? We go every Sunday. He's like, because the Bible says I can't do it. And so they're like, oh, come on. It doesn't really say that. You can go out on Sunday. So what happens is they go out golfing and he hits the ball, it hits a tree and it comes back and he needs surgery for his eye socket getting hit with the ball. And so what we find when we read the Bible, it says, if you feel that this is bad for you, then don't do it. Stand your ground. For example, I'll give you an example. I don't drink. Nothing. Haven't in years. Haven't drank anything. Why do I do it? Because was I an alcoholic? No. I drank, but I never really cared about, I don't know where that big bug is. It's going to drive me to drinking. No, but I decided a long time ago, if Jesus can wait to have wine with me, and I can wait to have wine with him. So I don't drink at all. What do you think would happen if I decided to break that? What I have decided to do, it's kind of a little pact between me and God, right? I've decided, God, I'm not drinking until I see you anew in heaven. What do you think would happen to me if I decided, I'm just going to go ahead and drink anyway? You know, I've waited, 7 years. What's the biggie? One drink, right? I haven't had so much as a sip in all these years. So something would happen though, because God says, wait a minute, you made a promise to me. Now, does that mean because I made a promise that everyone should make the same promise? And the answer is no. So Nick Vanderlyn, you're living a specific way. You don't believe in Christmas net. And just like the guy that went golfing, when he shouldn't have, because he knew for him it was wrong. It was not wrong for the other preachers. They didn't view it the same way. It's not wrong for me to take a drink, except I made a promise, so I'm not going to. And if the rapture doesn't come in 30 years, guess what? This guy ain't drinking. Why did I make that front? No, I'm just kidding. And so, same thing with the guy. He should have never gone golfing because he doesn't do anything on Sunday, but he did anyway. Nick Vanderlyn, if you decide you are not following Halloween, then don't. But don't try to force everybody else not to follow it either. I do. I mean, I don't get all dressed up or anything, but I give candy out to the kids. You know, I got grandkids. They want to go trick or treating. They want to do what the other kids are doing. And so I know there'll be people that argue, "Ah, you're in the world." It's not about being in the world. For me, what's on my mind at that moment is the day God destroyed sin from off the face of the earth. He did it on Halloween. That's when it happened. So that's what I celebrate. I celebrate the destruction of sin. That simple. I don't worship the devil on that day. That's ridiculous. I just see it that way. So, that being said, Nick, don't celebrate Halloween. I have a bad feeling that if you ever did, and I would never tell you to, but if you ever did, something horrible would happen to you. Nothing horrible is going to happen to me because I don't consider it an important day other than the day Noah got into the ark, or the day God shut the door and the rain started to fall. That's the day I see it. So try to live your life. Try not to live other people's lives. If you think the earth is flat, that's fine. If you can prove it, put it in the comments section. Make a video about it. Oh, he's over here now. I gotta go. Oh, Repo Man 64. Did I do everything? Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Don't get attacked by big bugs. Man, that thing's big. It's not very fast though. He's really slow. Go to a quiet place by yourself. Nobody needs to know, and you don't need to tell anybody except the Lord into your heart. We're running out of time. I imagine in heaven we'll be able to pet that bug and not have any repercussions for that. But for right now, I'm staying away from that bug. All right, we'll chat with you again later.